declare the meeting open, and it's advised to the members of the public in the gallery that by being in attendance, the meeting's live streamed, and in accordance with the city's live streaming and recording policy, you agree to have your voice and the image that's the word. Call upon Deputy Mayor to welcome us to country.
Thank you, Worship. I begin by acknowledging my elders past and present. Ngalak nini kuro ngala nois nijin nonga buja. Nonga majer per nini nini kwabak nonga buja kurlong. From the beginning of time to the end, this is Noongar country. Noongar people have been graceful keepers of our nation for many, many years. Yinin Kadajin Jerper Nijawer, Noongar Bujang Alamama border. Look, listen, understand, and embrace all the elements of Noongar country that is forever our home. Kaiwan Jungan Gorjer for Nijin Noongar Buja Dagli Wangin Noongar Buja. Hello and welcome. My heart is happy as we gathered on country and meeting here on Noongar country this evening.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here, and before commencing proceedings, I would like to acknowledge that we come together tonight on the traditional lands of the Noongar people and pay our respects to elders past and present. Could I call upon Deputy Mayor to do the dedication?
Thank you, Your Worship. May we, the elected members of the City of Kwinana, have the wisdom to consider all matters before us with due consideration, integrity and respect for the Council Chamber. May the decisions made be in good faith and always in the best interests of the greater Kwinana community that we serve.
Attendance, apologies, leave of absence previously approved. There is nil, which the Deputy Mayor is attending remotely. There is no questions from the public. Do councillors have a petition to present? Presentation? I don't believe there's any deputations. Confirmation of minutes held on the meeting 23rd of July 2025. Any additional information? Questions, councillors? Someone like to move those minutes? Moved Councillor Sargent, seconded Councillor Acker. Either councillor wish to speak? Speak against? Put to the vote. All those in favour? Deputy Mayor? Against?
Aye.
Carried. Declarations of interest. Do councillors have any declarations to make? No. Request for leave of absence. Neil? Nothing on item 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17.1. That item has been withdrawn. No, yes. That item has been withdrawn by the CEO to be presented at another meeting. 17.2, proposed closure of public road over the Peel Main Drain Corridor, Bertram Road Culvert to Johnson Road Culvert Wellard. Is there any additional information?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Councillors have any questions? Someone like to move that way? Moved Councillor Sargent, seconded Councillor Wood. Would either councillor wish to speak? Yes, Councillor Sargent.
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. I think that it's in the best interest of the City of Kwinana to hand this over to the Water Corp so that the conservation management with this particular catchment was then not a cost to our ratepayers, and that burden is now taken on by the authority that will ensure that it's done correctly, including mosquito mitigation. So I highly recommend we all vote yes. Thank you.
Councillor Wood.
I was actually going to say very similar to what Councillor Sargent, and it's really good that the financial burden of that drain has been taken away from the council and the ratepayers.
Anyone speak against? Put the item to the vote. All those in favour? Deputy Mayor?
Aye. Aye.
Against? Motion carried. 18.1 monthly financial report, June 2025. Did everyone get the late attachment that was included for that item? Yes. Is there any additional information?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Councillors have any questions? Someone like to move that way? Moved Councillor Wood, seconded Councillor Kearney. Would either councillors wish to speak? Anyone speak against? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Deputy Mayor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. 18.2, appointment of voting delegates and proxy voting delegates on behalf of the City of Kwinana at the annual general meeting of the Western Australian Local Government Association. I believe we have to appoint another councillor and 2 proxies. Who would like to be the voting delegate? Councillor Sargent. Anyone else? No? Would anyone like to be a proxy? We need 2 proxies, Councillor Penny and Councillor Acker. Someone like to move that we appoint those? Moved Councillor Rouse, second, and Councillor Wood. Either councillors wish to speak? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Deputy Mayor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. 18.3, local government elections, review of election period. Is there any additional information?
Nothing further, Mr Mayor.
Councillors have any questions? Councillor Penny?
Thank you. We've got a pretty unique situation in Western Australia in that our local government elections aren't overly factionised, relating to state government politics. And I just wondered, in your inquiries around looking into this issue, if anything had come up around, preserving that kind of independent aspect of West Australian local government elections. And if so, could you speak to that?
So I think in relation to keeping council apolitical, certainly from my understanding of the recent reform that state government has gone through, and certainly I think the position that Walga has taken, that they agree that that local government should be apolitical and that political parties shouldn't be involved. This is one of the reasons why we also didn't put forward the notion of compulsory voting, because it is thought that by having compulsory voting, it would actually open up more opportunity for political parties to actually get involved in local government in Western Australia, similar to what they do in other states. This is the reason why we're obviously only suggesting that we advocate to move to a 4-year election cycle to obviously save ratepayers the cost of council elections, and also I guess voter fatigue by the community in having certain numbers of elections every couple of years. The other issue, I guess, in relation to that as well, and compulsory voting. Compulsory voting couldn't really occur via postal vote, so it would require local governments to do voting in person, I would have thought, which would actually end up being a lot more expensive. Again, that's why we're only looking to support the advocacy position of a 4-year term. Sure.
Yeah, my interest around this is as well the potential cost savings to ratepayers, and looking at those the costs over the previous, say, since 2015 up until 2023. So there was quite a significant jump from 2021 to 2023. Is that because of? I guess, could you speak to that a little bit more? What those factors were? I mean, does that take into account the fact that we had a mayoral election, that there was 4 vacant seats, and we went to preferential voting? And how is that sort of costing, I guess, in terms of comparing apples to apples? And what would that look like if in future years that we are on a 2-year cycle, but we're only electing a mayor every 2 years? Just a little bit more detail around that.
So I'll let the CEO respond, but I would say in the first instance the significant increase in postage costs is one of the largest factors.
Yeah. Through the chair. There was a small increase due to having to conduct the mayoral election. Wasn't particularly significant in the overall scheme of it. The major cost increase was, as the Mayor said, was the increase in postal costs, plus there was a significant increase in salaries and other charges from the WA Electoral Commission. Those were the main drivers behind it. Just your point, so the mayoral election will be the same, so it'll be every 4 years, so not every 2. So basically, every 4 years, full council goes to election, which makes it probably a little bit cleaner as well for people as to that they know who they are voting for, what positions.
Councillor Brown?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just in terms of the logistics of, I guess, election night and accounting with a full replacement of the council and the preferential system adding complexity to the count, would we expect that there'd be even less chance on election night of having a result in this model?
Through the chair, I obviously can't answer on behalf of the WA Electoral Commission or whoever the entity is that's conducting the count. The expectation is that you would have more people on board because of that. It's just purely a numbers, it's purely a counting thing. If you look to the other states, New Zealand does 4-year cycles as well. Their votes, their counts come out the following day. So, well, pretty much on that day as well. So it can be done, it just requires resourcing.
And just in terms of the cost for 2023, would we look to that as a guide for what, I guess, the next election would, or an election of the full council being up, would cost, or would there be a slight increase with the number of candidates, I guess, being counted?
Yeah, through the chair, you would expect it to be around that because you are still going out with the same number. All you're doing is adding to the paper an extra five people to that. So that doesn't change in terms of the printing. You're still going out to every household, so you wouldn't expect too much of a change from that.
Okay. And just my last question. Over the years, this council has seen, I guess with the 2-year cycle, there's been an opportunity for members of council to retire early with that 2-year cycle. What would be, I guess, the logistics and cost around an early retirement with this new model in place?
Yeah, through the chair. So exactly the same process. So you, a councillor, should they wish to or need to retire. So there's a couple of things. If you're within the 12 months of the upcoming election, you can hold that seat vacant, or you would have to hold a by-election. You are pretty much facing that now anyway on a 2-year cycle anyway. So a lot of councils that have gone through that have had to conduct by-elections or you hold.
And what's the approximate cost of a by-election?
Same cost as an election.
No, I think it's slightly less. I think it's about 80,000. Don't quote me. I think it's about 80.
Okay. Thank you.
I think there was conversations about consideration being made to whether if a councillor did wish to retire or had to resign for various reasons during their term, that they could actually go to the next person elected, similar to what they've done previously with the upper house of state parliament, but there hasn't been any commitment that that's actually going to occur. Councillor Penny?
Is that something that we can advocate for through this process?
Certainly think it is. I mean, it's something that could be taken to the zone, to the Walga zones, to be presented to other county. I mean, it makes more sense to do that, especially in situations. Ultimately, if you move to 4-year terms, that would be the most cost-effective way. So, just in relation to your questions about the time it took to count the ballots at the previous election, I guess the other thing that you need to also consider at that last election was the first time that local government elections were preferential voting, which means it was a new system that the Commission were implementing, and so people weren't that familiar with it. So you would expect that the coming election would be a reasonably, a better process because more people should be around that system, but anything's possible. Any other questions? Someone like to move the motion? Moved Councillor Sargent, seconded Councillor Acker. Councillor Sargent, wish to speak?
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. I believe for the City of Kwinana, this is a very significant cost saving for the ratepayer. I believe that if an entire, the main argument against this that I have heard is the continuation of government, but quite frankly, I believe if an entire council got voted off, there was probably a reason for that. As someone that was just elected in the last election cycle, the induction process, and while you're trying to do that and you have other councillors, like if everyone inducted at the start of a 4-year run to be able to all work together, I think especially when you look at the long-standing documents that council adheres to, strategic plans, business plans, that to have your 4-year commitment as a team to train and grow and build together, because that's what the councillors of the City of Kwinana are. We are the team that represents them. I highly support this, and hopefully this advocation gets over the line, because one, it will save the people we serve money. 2, it will potentially offer a better community environment to be able to work on high-level strategic governance in a group of dedicated people that have the time to actually address these matters. Thank you.
Councillor Acker?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just quickly want to say I echo your comments. I echo Councillor Sargent's comments. I had a few notes that I support the shift to a 4-year cycle and oppose compulsory voting for some simple reasons. You know, a $200,000 plus or minus saving to the ratepayer. It reduces disruption to council's strategic focus and planning cycles. Improves induction and team development. Turnout was just over 30% in 2023, so voter fatigue is real. This will be the 3rd election this year, and that's why I support the motion, and I encourage my fellow councillors to do the same. Thank you.
Would anyone like to speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Deputy Mayor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. 18.4, amendment of schedule of fees and charges, Banksia Park Retirement Estate. Is there any additional information, Mr. CEO?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor, have any questions? Someone like to move that? Moved Councillor Rouse, seconded Councillor Sargent. Either councillor wish to speak? No, thank you. Anyone speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Deputy Mayor?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
Motion carried. There's nothing. 19, 20. There is no late or urgent business. Reports of elected members. Deputy Mayor?
I've nothing to report, Your Worship.
Councillor Acker? Councillor Brown? Councillor Kearney? Councillor Penny? Councillor Rouse? Councillor Sargent? Are you sure?
I think so.
Councillor Wood?
I've performed all that you required of me, but I'd like to let the council know that Rebecca Indich, who plays for Kwinana Ladies Darts, was chosen to represent Western Australia in the darts championships over in the Eastern States, and she won the Rookie Award. She had the 7th highest average, and her partner in the mixed doubles were the champions in the mixed doubles.
Awesome.
Great. It's nothing at item 23. Mayoral announcements. Probably the most significant thing that I did in the last week was attend the laying of the foundation stone at the Buddhist monastery in Casuarina. Everyone should remember that when that came to council. So they're actually at the point of actually constructing the new hall. In actual fact, the idea was that they were going to take the roof off and replace it and move forward, but the walls were actually not up to scratch, so they've demolished the whole garage section where the hall will be, and they're building a new one. So they invited me there to lay a stone under the concrete foundation, which is a thing they do with Buddhist facilities. Apart from that, there's nothing else really occurred. There's no confidential items. I declare the meeting closed at 6:21. Thank you for attending. Thanks, Barry.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good evening.